Okay, there we go. I just forgot my mic pack. It's been so long. Forgot how to do this. Great to see everybody. It's so good to be here. I did one 301 meeting. We've been doing our growth track online as well as in person. But besides that, this is the first time that I've seen like real live people here at Grace Church, and so just warmly welcome everybody. And then, again, for all those of you watching online, we're so glad that you're joining us, and really looking forward to this evening together and being able to share my heart a little bit with some of the things that are going on. And I just want to, mention right off the bat that I am so proud of you as a church. We have faced, I think, the most challenging season in the life of Grace Church. And by God's grace, I think we've more than conquered. Like, we haven't just survived, we've really been thriving. And so, well done. I mean, and what I want to talk about here a little bit is where we're headed here. I'm going to talk about the fall a little bit. And we've been praying hard and thinking and brainstorming. And so we'll dive in and talk a little bit about that. I want to start off by this, though. Talking about how we've been more than conquerors and how we've been thriving, want to start off and talk about what's happened in the last 5 months. I mean, normally we get time to connect and talk a little bit, and there have been so many good things happening and not having an opportunity to be able to talk and to share. And this is part of a big well done for you. So let me run through some of these things and talk through the last few months. Number one is New Hope Elementary School. We've partnered with them for many years, helping them. We found out years ago they weren't getting their school supplies in terms of teachers having to buy school supplies for kids. And so in just 8 days on Monday, August 10th, from 10 a.m. to noon, we're going to be partnering with New Hope and packing 625 learning kits for their students. Many of you have been donating supplies already. Isn't that cool? Many of you have been donating supplies. We've got them all stacked up, and we've been helping out with that. And so we're excited. These kids will get these packets to help them with their, having school supplies, as well as for what they're going to be needing to do here at the beginning of the school year. So excited about that. As you may know, during this season, we found out at the beginning of the crisis that many of the families were losing, kids get their breakfast and lunch at school, and they didn't have their food. And so we're in partnership with the principal, and we had a good dialogue with her, and she's very sweet and very grateful. She's a great leader. And she said, well, we're working on getting a plan to make sure all the families are fed. But she goes, it's going to be kind of a lot and a little bit too much. And she was really sweet, just being kind of like a little sheepish and a little apologetic or whatever. And she said, because it'd be kind of a lot. Well, how much? It'd be kind of a lot or whatever. Well, like a number. And she said, it would be like $1,000 a week. And we said, okay, we'll do it. We'll take care of it. Go. And it hasn't quite turned out to be that much, but we have fed 201 families, 736 people, 444 children, 4.65 tons of food we've donated, and over 5,000 diapers, 2,000 rolls of toilet paper. It goes on and on and on. So anyway, it's just a blessing to be able to, be a blessing to them. And they're just so very grateful. And now some of the federal funding has come in. But we're continuing to serve them any way we can. And with these back-to-school supplies, it's a big deal. So let me just breeze through some others for you. Maria Sell, from our church, who's been serving in China with an orphanage for 20 years, came back home. And a team of 12 people, volunteers, built Maria and Hudson a ramp. Hudson needs a ramp for his wheelchair. And so a team did that. Families moving forward. The first weekend of COVID, we sent breakfast to 70 families facing housing insecurity at the Families Moving Forward group. We had 27 needs submitted from our church family of people that had needs. And so we did groceries for single moms in our church, childcare for healthcare workers, providing diapers for new families, medication pickup for those in need, financial assistance for those who were affected by coronavirus. And so we were able to serve those people here in our own spiritual family. We did 3 toilet paper giveaways back when that was a thing. Remember, like, toilet paper was a shortage, and now you go to Costco and it's like lined up for rows and rows. But anyway, we did that, and that was great. Was a great outreach and an invite tool too for Grace Church. We gave 100 medical gowns were donated to workers at Durham Nursing and Rehab. They were very, very grateful for that. We also did a blood drive and had 131 people. They were estimating we probably have about 25 people. And I said, y'all don't know Grace Church, buckle up. But anyway, we had 131 people donate blood to potentially save 393 lives, and we were also then able to donate $1,300 to our ATK. We did a carry home repair project. 8 people went and served a local family and did some repair projects there. Durham Rescue Food, we had 3 separate teams. 17 different people went and prepared 3 meals and served meals at Durham Rescue. At Meet Me at the Bridge, we went down there and partnered with them. The underserved in our community gave out lunches, clothes, and had worship and prayer. We did the Durham Nursing and Rehab Notes of Encouragement. Our Grace Kids wrote letters to those in the nursing home that are isolated, and that was a lot of fun. Habitat for Humanity, just yesterday, we had a team of 5 volunteers. They were the first volunteers since COVID and went to the Faith House, and that our Advance the Kingdom offering money went to, and were able to help there. And we got a project coming up, the Homeless Supply Bag Packing event coming up. We're going to partner with those packing supplies, and so absolutely amazing. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I'm just so impressed with all that you have done, Grace Church. So, and also, meanwhile, all this is going on, our Advance the Kingdom projects. Every year we come up with a list of things that we want to do in Advance the Kingdom, and I won't go into the detail. We'll do it on a Sunday morning, but we've now been able to complete all of our projects, or some of our projects are like in process that we're going to be completing here soon, and they're kind of in motion. We had 4 projects that we weren't able to complete because of the lockdown, the trip to LA, and there's no back to school party, things like that we're shifting and taking on some other projects that were on our kind of big vision list. And so anyway, we've had $442,000 given to our Advance the Kingdom offering. And so again, big hand. It's just phenomenal what we've been able to do with that. So also small groups. We've had small groups meeting, development groups meeting, growth track groups meeting, some in person, many in Zoom. Our pastors and leaders, we've talked a lot about this as a team, but there have been hundreds upon hundreds of texts, phone calls, and emails made, and the connections I've just been very grateful for. So now another thing that, there's the negatives, here's a positive of this whole season, is we've been doing a remodel in our Grace Kids area. And it gave all the workers an opportunity to keep on working, and they didn't have to they just kept, and they didn't have to reset it. We were going to have reset it for every Sunday for services, and so they just got it done. And then we brought in a company to help install technology, and so we got just some last things we're tweaking, but it's basically all done. And afterwards, we'd love to invite you who are here to take a tour. But for everyone here and online, we'd love to show you a little video to give you a quick video tour.
Hi everyone, I'm Ethan with the Grace Kids. I am so excited to show you the brand new Grace Kids elementary space. Our team has been working all spring and it is finally done. Let's check it out together. We have 5 brand new classroom spaces. This is where our children will have their small group time. They'll connect with their teachers. They can hear each other so much more than they did in the old auditorium. This is a great place for our kids to experience God. As a plus, when we come back, we have 5 brand new classrooms to spread out our kids for better social distancing. We now now have a bathroom in the Grace Kids Safe Zone. Children no longer have to leave to go across the hall. They can stay
toilet
here
looks
to
so
use the
small.
restroom and then go right back to class. Check it out, the Grace Kids Auditorium. This is a fantastic space for children to hear their Bible stories from their storytellers, with their worship. This is a great place that was built just for our kids. It's going to be excellent. Thank you for joining me on a tour of the Grace Kids space. We are so excited about reaching our kids and building their lives here. If you prayed at any part of this process, thank you. If you gave, whether time, energy, resources, thank you so much for making this possible. We look forward to reaching our children here. We are impacting the next generation together.
Isn't that pretty cool? Love that, love that, love that, love it. So, we were able to just do some painting around the building. We did some fresh touches in the bathrooms. And again, this gives us an opportunity to get some of these things knocked out, which has been a blessing. And we'd love to give you, if you'd like to walk through and get a tour, as well as if you want to go upstairs and see, we built the second level for half of it. And there's some offices up there for people that have been, we've been having people office out of the coffee shop and places like that. So it's a real blessing. Another thing that we did was we made some upgrades to our video and our online experience. And, we wanted to create, once we went all online, we're like, we have to make this great. One thing you might not know is that the audio that we have in the room that sounds so awesome, if you pipe that out to the internet and online, it just sounds terrible. And so we worked on tweaking that and really getting that at a great level, and some camera stuff. And so I don't know about you, but I feel like our video team and the worship team, Kevin and Chris Bitzis and the tech team, have done an absolute phenomenal job. And so we really honor you guys. I mean, they've really worked hard and I think made the best of the situation. And so we invested in some hardware to help them do that. And it's going to have a lasting impact for us. In many ways, our online experience is your brochure. Like you used to have a church brochure. Our church brochure is our online experience. And so they have really brought that to the next level, and couldn't be happier, more proud of them. So I want to give you one more update, finances. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your incredible generosity through this season. I'll be honest with you, many churches, I'm in contact with a lot of pastors, many churches are struggling or they're, having a tough season, and having to make adjustments or lay off staff. And I just want to give you a brief, background here. 2019 for us was just a financially blessed year. I think, we were going to be doing this. I think the Lord just blessed us. We're up 19% over the previous year, which is, if you kind of do the math, that's very, 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 very good year. And then after that, really blessed year, we kind of went into 2020, and I did the math today. We had 10 services here in person, and today was our 21st service online. And so we've had 31 weekends, 10 in person and 21 online. And so, previously our online giving was maybe about 65% or so. So you see that, you can do the math why people struggle, right? If 35% of your money is, people aren't coming up, and you start doing the math. Well, let me just say this, Grace Church, I honor you. Like, not only did people transition to online giving, we're actually 5% up in our giving over last year, which was best year ever. I mean, I honor you. And what it's done is it's given us the ability to do all these things. It's given us the ability to reach out. We've been blessed to be a blessing, and it's been so fun to, be able to be a blessing. And I want to honor you, and I want to thank you. We didn't have to lay off one staff person, I honestly think it's just a huge sign of health. And again, I honor you and bless you for that. In fact, just to give you a quick little thing, inside scoop, when the meltdown first happened there in March, the opportunity came out. Thousands of churches applied for the PPP money. And so, we didn't know what in the world was going to happen, right? You're like 3 weeks in, and what's going to happen. And so we applied, and received the money, actually got wired, and they actually changed, just to let you know, two things. One, they changed the description of who was eligible, and then honestly, as the weeks went on, I was just like, we're just blessed, and I just talking with the team, I just lost peace, and I got good people I know that were all whatever positive, and I'm just like, I don't feel good, like I lost peace, and so we sent all the money back and said, hey y'all, God bless you, we're good. And what's amazing is that we're up more than we sent back. I think God's like, he's our provider, And so this is leaders meeting. I'm giving you all the inside scoop. Anyway, I just want to thank you and honor you. And let me just give you an example of what we're able to do. So one of our partners that we're very close with is Yuri and Oksana Semenuk. They're in Tiraspol, Transnistria, this little country between Moldova and the Ukraine. And it was probably March, maybe early April. He just said, we are in a hard place. 75 to 80% of the churches lost their jobs. And he goes, and so not only is that a problem because people don't have their jobs, he said, but the food chain supply has been cut off because of this. He goes, our hospitals are empty, but also our grocery stores are. He goes, we're just in a hard place. And so because of you, we were able to send them $10,000, which is huge, to be able to help them and able to feed their families, and it made a massive difference. They were having people come to them and say, will you please take our children because we know that our children will be fed and we'll come back and get them after. I mean, that's how bad it was in the country there. And so anyway, again, we were blessed to be a blessing. And so, let me just tell you one more thing that we're going to do. We found out this week, Yuri said, Kenner, he goes, I don't even, you all been so generous. I don't even want to bring this up, but let me just tell you the situation we're facing so you can pray. And he said, because of the rules and the way their building is, he goes, we can only have 27 people in the service at a time for distancing. And he goes, we'll get in big trouble if we, don't follow those rules. And he goes, we just haven't been able to have services for very many people at all. He goes, but if we do it outside, we can have a lot more people. But, the sun and the rain and whatever, And so he says, we've been working for 6 months to build a pavilion outside, and we got it built. But he goes, it's just so hard for us to be able to get it done. We need a roof for it. And then we could hold services and have 150 people and run 3 or 4 services on Sunday and have 150 people at each service. And so let me go and bring up a picture of this. So this week we're gonna send $7,000 to pay for this roof so that Yuri can start meeting on Sunday mornings. And I just feel like, hey, we're blessed to be a blessing, and we're gonna help him build that roof, and they're gonna start having their services. And so, come on, can we give God one more hand? So, okay, I could go on and on, but I hope you hear my heart that. When you face tough times, you find out what's inside of people and what's in, where you're at, and I just, again, couldn't be more grateful. I couldn't be more proud of you as a church. I feel like we faced a tough situation, and we've really, by God's grace, risen to it. And so great job. I want to talk a little bit about vision for the fall, and this challenging season that we're in. I think you all can feel a little bit. I'll just tell you what I experienced. I thought, hey, great. They're saying 2 weeks and we'll flatten the curve. So you go, okay, 2 weeks, we can do this. Okay, now is it 5 more weeks or 6 more weeks, and now it's 3 more weeks, and now it's 3 more weeks, and now it's we're 21 weeks in. And now coming into the fall, you just realize, and I'll talk a little bit about this, that we got to embrace the tough season we're in. We got to just stare it in the eye and say, we're in a tough season, and we're going to have to make the best of this. We're going to have to believe, that we can really experience the Lord through it. So what I want to talk about first is regathering. I know for many of you, we it's the question, when do we get to do church again? And y'all know, I am numero uno fan. I'm like, let's go. I'm so ready, But this is a challenging situation. It is a tough decision. There's safety and health of people. That is, a big deal. And then there's spiritual health and worshiping together. And I don't think there's one right answer to this, right? Let me just say this. I think going through this, I've talked a little bit about this, but I think having humility and being able to honor and defer and respect different people's opinions can create a unity and a love and a grace to go through this. We have a diverse church, and we're going to have diverse opinions on these things. And so it's not simple. There's in the state of North Carolina, the governor's recommendation as of today is 10 people inside, 25 people outside. And then there was a group that brought before the North Carolina court, an appeal for churches, which was affirmed and passed. And the governor said he wouldn't, fight that. And so many churches have been meeting. Manna Church in Fayetteville, North Carolina, large church. I don't know what they have, 8,000 people. They've been meeting. Grace Church Southern Pines has been meeting. Bible Church across the road has been, meeting in person and online. C3 Church, Matt Fry is a friend of mine, and they've started. I think just 2 weeks ago, started, and I messaged him and heard tell him how how's it going, and what are you thinking and stuff like that. And so Summit Church made a decision to wait until 2021, and they're not going to have services for the rest of the year. So my point is this: there's just not one easy, simple answer, and I am a planner and a strategizer. Like we get together as a team. We plan literally like a year at a time, and we make all of our plans and when we're going to do this and that, and and we lay it all out. And then we work on it and tweak things as we go through the year. But it feels good to have some strategy. What's God saying? Where are we going to go? And one of the hardest things for me, and I don't know if you've experienced this, is just the uncertainty of it all. Like, golly day, and I think maybe it's some of what y'all are like, just tell me what we're gonna do, I feel that way, and so what I have come to is that I've just got to get a little more comfortable with uncertainty, and I feel like our current phase 2 is running through this Friday, the 7th, so the governor will be saying something this week, and I'm just curious to what he has to say. And, let me just be very transparent with you. My heart desire has been to be in sync with our community, with this regathering issue, that, with, what's going on with the gyms, what's going on with the theaters, what's going on with the schools, what's going on, and I'm watching the situation. We're watching the situation. What I've learned in this uncertainty is just don't make promises and great plans, because as soon as you make a plan, trust me, things are going to change. And so let me just tell you what we're thinking about regathering is this. We don't know. I'm just not sure yet. I don't have peace, and I'm taking this one step at a time, and we're going to see what the governor says this week, and then I gotta wait till I have peace, and we have peace as a team, and I haven't come to that yet. And so anyway, I know that's not a great answer, but let me tell you this: when we do regather, I've besides all the stuff on the internet and all the data and stuff, I've spent a lot of time connecting with other church leaders and hear what other churches are doing and what they've experienced, and it's pretty fascinating. I won't bore you, but let me just tell you what I'm expecting will happen, so you can kind of have your expectations set. When we do regather, I'm guessing we'll have about 30 to 35% of our original attendance before, from February, and I think that's, given the data, that's what other churches have experienced. C3 in different places, and particularly, I'm following closest to those in North Carolina. And then hopefully things could eke up. So let me just say, in my mind, if we could regather, if we could eke up, here's my best case scenario, maybe it would be we might be at 50%, 60% by the end of the year. So when we start talking about vision for the fall, what I've come to is this, is okay, we need a great fall. We've got to lean into the system, the season that we're in, you know. And what is God saying? And a verse that's really come to me through this is from Acts 17:26. And it says this: He made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling places. Like, so what this says is this: God knew exactly when and where you would live, what time, what age, you know, and like the exact location. And set those boundaries for where you would be. And I don't know about you, have you ever like imagined of like, I kind of joke with Nana sometimes, I say, hey, you know, if we settled the West in a covered wagon, babe, I would definitely take you. You're so resourceful and frugal and wise, and you can you know. I don't know if you ever like thought about what would it be like to live in a different era, you know? And sometimes I think about this verse and I go, God, man, like, am I wimpy? You chose me to live in like 2020, like you know, we're at a pretty blessed, you know, time in history historically if you look back over the centuries, you know. But now we're in a tough season, aren't we? And let's go to this next verse if you want to bring that up. God did this. He set you in a certain time in 2020. In North Carolina, in the United States of America, so that they would seek him and perhaps reach out for him and find him, though he's not far from any one of us. I believe God has set you in this time, in this place, in North Carolina, in the United States of America, right now, so that you would seek him and perhaps reach out and find him and you would grow in your relationship with the Lord. This is the thought that has been just resonating in my heart and spirit, is this: you were made for this. This has encouraged me. I'm like, Lord, I was made for this. I was made to be right here, right now, at this time, in this season, in this place. I don't like it in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? It's uncomfortable. It's frustrating. It's uncertain. I want, you know, like, you know, you get in your whining moment, you know, I like my life back, please, Lord, you know? And, but I believe that God sets us in times and places so that we would seek him. And you were made for this. That's encouraged me. You were made for this. And as I look at fall 22, 2020 here, I look over this fall that we've got these next several months. I started, okay, Lord, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to whine anymore. I'm going to lean in. Best case scenario, we'll have half our people here gathering on Sunday morning. Best case by the end of the year. Okay, and maybe that's not happening. Okay, we'll see. Point is, that's best case scenario. And half the people at home watching online half, you know, like that's like this is my guess. I hope I'm wrong, okay? But we got to start thinking here a little bit. And you know what I've determined is this: we were made for this. Come on, let's go. Let's take the challenge. Let's knock it out of the park. Let's not sit around and, you know, it's easy to go like, oh, let's get this over with and we're just going to endure. But you know what? It's not changing next week. Y'all know that. It's not changing next week. So I think we got to get determined, Lord, we were made for this. So I've been praying. We've been praying as a team. I know y'all have been praying, but we've been asking, okay, God, what are you saying? What are you doing? What would be the best thing spiritually for every person at Grace Church? How in the world do you do church with half the people regathered, half the people at home? And what we've pressed, like as a staff, you know, we did two questions. I said, here's the question number one. What if we never regathered again? How would we do it? Don't worry, I promise. That will not happen, please. But like, what would we do? It forces you to press into how could we do church at a different level? And we're not just trying to survive for 2 weeks or 6 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, right? And how would we do church, let's say long term, if half the people are here and half the people Okay? Now listen, I'm looking forward to packing the house out, baby. We've got 4 weeks of at the movies all ready to go. And I'm like, bring it on, baby. Let's pack the house. But that's not happening anytime soon. So, I want to invite you with me to take on this challenge. Let's make it great. Let's press in for this fall. So, we've been praying and thinking. And spiritually, I feel like we need connection. We need each other. Like, you can kind of get by for 2 weeks or 6 weeks, you know, we'll just sort of hole up and stay at home and, you know, whatever. But the two clear thoughts that I felt like the Lord really put on my heart, and they're so simple, is this: get in a group, grow spiritually. I think what we need to do as a church is get in a group and grow spiritually. If we do this for this fall, and if every person, as many people as possible, get in a group and then really determine to grow spiritually, I think we're going to have a phenomenal fall, and we're going to be launched and ready to go, and we're going to continue to do our outreaches and make a difference and change the world. Yes. But first of all, our number one focus for the fall is, I said, okay, here's the challenge. In the middle of this craziness, okay, how could we have our best small groups experience ever in the history of Grace Church? I mean, this is not easy, right? Because we're going to have in-person groups and we're going to have online groups, Zoom groups. We're going to have both kinds of groups, all right? And so we're going to offer both kinds of groups. So when I say get in a group, it doesn't mean you have to get around, hold hands or something, okay? It's get in a group that you're comfortable with, okay, and grow spiritually. And so I believe that the benefit spiritually for us to get in a group is so important that it's not like, well, let's wait till this is over and then we'll be able to whatever. And we've had many groups meetings, several, but I think a lot of people are experiencing isolation as I've talked with people, feeling a little disconnected, feeling a little bit like alone through this, or at least, you know, not satisfied. I think, you know, by the way, two things that we've learned. Number one, we've learned we can do a lot more than we thought with technology and Zoom and connection and all that. But we also learned that it will never replace connecting and worshiping together, all right? Like, it'll never replace it. So, we've learned those things. So, number one, get in a group. Two, grow spiritually. We don't want to waste this season. Let me just say this. This is my pastoral heart coming out. I want every person to get what God has for them in this season. And I feel like there's another level of spiritual growth for myself, for you, for us as a church. I just have this hunch, just like when I pray, and by the way, we have a prayer meeting, 12:30 to 1, Monday through Thursday when we're in the office, every day since it started. We haven't missed, okay? We're praying for you. And just in praying, what I feel is this, is for many of us, the spiritual growth that God has for us hasn't completely happened. Or maybe you're like, I've gone through this and I don't know if I've grown spiritually. Or maybe I have a little bit, but you know, like, and I just believe there's like a big spiritual step for us to take to get all that God has for us in the season. And I don't want to waste the season. I want to get what God has for me, and I want you to get what God has for you. Get in a group, grow spiritually. So from that thinking, we just started asking, okay, what would be good? And we started bouncing ideas around, and this just surfaced quickly. And I was just like, ding, we're going a little bit old school here. We're going to go back. One thing that I've been doing in this season is going back to some things that spiritually have really fed me. And what we're going to do for our groups this fall, we're going to do a 9-week series called Experiencing God. Experiencing God. This was, I looked it up because I was curious. First published in June 1976, okay? And I read it 20-some years ago. And this book, and this is the workbook, changed my life. It really impacted me. It really helped me. I just felt like when you get the ding, 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 I went ding, 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 ding. I think this is just what we need. And what I love about this book and this experience is if you are a brand new believer, if you're not yet a believer, this book will speak to you and you'll be able to get it. If you've been walking with the Lord 20, 30, 40 years, buckle up and get ready. It will speak to you. And the subtitle is Knowing and Doing the Will of God. And find out what God's doing and join him in what he's doing. And it will lead you to, there's 2 sections, 2 weeks on hearing the voice of God and knowing God's will for your life. And then it leads you to this crisis of faith where you have to make major adjustments in your life. And it talks about obedience and faith. And let me just tell you this. This is why I just have got this growing excitement about this. I feel like it's just timely. It's just a Grace Church thing for us at this time. And I can tell you right now, some of you are going to make some significant decisions. You're going to get clarity about God's will for your life like you've never had it before. And it's going to get you. It's going to speak. You're going to be like, okay. And you're going to like come to this crisis of faith. And some of you may make a career decision. You might like, it's going to lead you to do something that you go, ding, 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 I got it. And maybe it's a small step, maybe it's a big step, but I just could not be more confident and excited that I think this is spiritually what will really feed us and speak to us. So what we're going to do is what we've done previously is we're going to sync our Sunday morning messages with our experience here. It'll be different content. We'll take the topics and preach our heart and something different. And then you'll get in a group and you'll grow spiritually. You get in a group online or in person. And there's a video curriculum with Henry Blackaby, the author. And it's got a little old school feeling, but back in the day, it was pretty good. They had moving angles and stuff, you know. But the Bible's been around for a while, and these truths last. And Jonathan's like, "You sure this is good?" And I said, "Well, it's whatever. We'll just tell people it's a little old school." But the content, I want you to get the content, okay? You don't have to get the tie, get the content, okay? You watch the video for 20 minutes, and then this workbook, we're going to get everyone to get one of these workbooks, okay? Actually has like a 5-day devotional, and then you go to your group. And if you go through this, I just feel like it's just what God is sending us to help us get focused, get in a group, and grow spiritually. Get in a group, grow spiritually. And so we're going to be launching this after Labor Day. We're going to take this month of August, recruit leaders, train leaders, and we're going to, by God's grace, make this the best small group thing we've ever done. We're going to start, and Pastor Adam can tell you when, here in a couple of weeks as we're recruiting leaders. We're going to start doing a 20 to 30-minute small group leaders Zoom training every Sunday between services. So you can watch first service and then get online and do this. And I'm going to do one. We're going to have different trainings on leading a discussion. And the fun thing with Zoom is we can bring in Pastor Jeff Little, or we can bring in Michael Fletcher and have them teach something. And we're going to just put together some great things. I think I might ask Steve Grennan and Matt Brzezowski. They're really great about praying for their members and seeing God answer prayer, and maybe have them do one. And so every week we're going to take that 20 to 30 minutes max, we'll shoot for, and give you great content for the leaders to really equip you to have a great experience, give you updates on what we're doing and what's happening and all that, and it will be a jam-packed 20 minutes. So we're going to do some things that we've never done before like that to really help that be great. Now, people have asked me, what can I do? How can I serve? What difference can I make? This is it. This is it. If you could lead a group, co-lead a group, host a group, I believe spiritually right now the best thing we could do as a church family, as a spiritual family, is to help everyone get in a group and grow spiritually. Like, this is it. This is the most significant thing that I think we can do. Get in a group and grow spiritually. What can I do, Pastor? This is it. And so we're going to make it very easy for you to do that. Is Pastor Adam here? Yeah, come on up here real quickly. Grab a microphone or something. You got instructions. I forgot to write down the instructions on. I want to give you an ability to do this. Like tonight, if you're online watching, you can just get online and do this. But if you would like to lead a group, do you have that information? Yeah. Okay, come on up. If you would like to lead a group, you can sign up to lead a group. If you've led a group previously, if you've never led a group, we will make this easy for you. Okay, I mean all the content is here. You play the video. And you have a discussion, and you connect with people. And again, we're gonna have two types of groups, in-person groups, online groups, whatever you're comfortable with, okay? So tell them how to do that.
Yes, if you... Okay. I recently shaved.
Wow.
I wasn't expecting that. Awesome. If you've led a group before, we want you to lead again. Go to gracelife.com/register. You can register like right now, but finish listening to Pastor Kendrick and then register. And if you've never led before, we love you to lead. There's 4 easy steps. Go to gracelife.com/new leader. Just new leader, and it spells it all out for you. Do all those things, and we'll get you going.
Okay. /register if you've led before. /new leader if you've never led before.
That's it.
Boom. Thank you. You're the man. Okay. Things are uncertain, but I really believe this is something sent from heaven for God. God's going to meet us in this. I'm excited to go through it again. I'm excited to lean in and say, God, what are you doing? How can I join you in that? And what are you saying? And I just feel like this is it for us for this season. This fall. It's going to give us a great fall together. And I think we're going to have an opportunity to get what God has for us through this season by leaning into this together. And so I've got a few things to close off with, but want to take one moment before we do that and give you a little bit of a health update. I know people are kind of curious, how you doing, Pastor Kendrick? I do have a little blog. If you're ever curious, you can just go to enjoymore.net. But let me tell you, I'll back up real briefly and give you the quick overview. Last October, after having tried to figure out for about a year what in the world was going on, found out that I have a growth in my C6 vertebrae that was solitary plasmacytoma. It's cancer. It's kind of growing in the bone marrow of my vertebrae. And so over the new year, kind of end of December into middle of December into, I think, January 10th or something, I did 21 days of radiation treatment. Now the good news is with this growth is that it's very unusual. Usually it's called multiple myeloma. There's multiple ones, but there's only one. And my blood was clear, my bone marrow was clear, everything was clear, but there's one spot. So they zapped it with radiation, which in I think 95, 99%, some high percentage times it works. And so I did a MRI at the end of March and then a PET scan at the end of June, and basically we knocked it down but didn't knock it out. It didn't grow or shrink, and the activity like diminished some, but 25%. And so again, everything else is clear, which is wonderful and great, but there's 450 cases of this a year between the soft tissue and then the bone one that I have. So you got maybe 250 cases of this, and then most of these people just zap it the first time with radiation. And so I'm in like kind of a unique group, and then I got all these problems with my feet. So anyway, I'm feeling special. Not fun special. Anyway, so Duke presented a treatment plan. I went to UNC to get a second opinion, and then last week flew up to Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota to get another second opinion. I guess you call that a third opinion. It was kind of funny. Nan and I went up. My parents live in Minnesota, so flew up and stayed out in their RV and took their car down. And just quick story. Driving into Rochester. I mean, here you go. You're into Rochester Mayo Clinic. I mean, it's not only the number one rated health care system in the country, but in the world, And they have specialists in this very area that, and also tied with my feet, which is kind of interesting. So anyway, you're driving to town, I think this is amazing, So we drive into town, and pull off, and we come to the first stoplight, and there's this big building over here, and the Mayo Clinic's there, and we're going to get there, and I look over at this building, and this big building, and it said Rochester Cremation Services. I'm like, whatever. It's like, if things don't work out at Mayo, we're here for you. I'm like, anyway, I had to laugh, get a little bit of humor, like, golly day, y'all. Anyway, just a little joke. I know it's a little dark, but anyway. So good news is, Mayo, Duke, and we have some nuance of exactly what I'm going to do, but basically we're all in agreement for, I'm going to start chemotherapy, take 3 drugs for 16 weeks, 4 rounds of 4 weeks, and I start on Tuesday. And so I don't like it, like buckle up and, blast your whole system when you got one spot, but the radiation treatment didn't work. And we tried the isolated shot and it just didn't work. And so this is in what they call a high value real estate area. And we got to zap this thing and it's we can't mess around. And so I feel like literally some of the best experts, at Mayo and Duke and UNC are phenomenal. You put those 3 together and they're all in agreement. I think we got, a good plan. So anyway, what does that mean? It's a little bit like challenging the season we're in. I'm just like, all right, let's go. Let's buckle up. Let's fight. By the grace of God, I'm going to win. We are going to win and beat this thing, And it's just taking another round. I was hoping to knock it out in round 1, but we're going to knock it out in round 2. Just to let you know, I'm going to have to be a little more careful. The chemotherapy does a little work on your immune system. And so I'm going to, be in the office a little less, and I'm just going to have to be careful. Anyway, but I'm hoping, I'm hoping to be able to, from the people I've talked to, I think there's a pretty good chance that I can still work, a fair amount. So as I have energy and time, I'm giving, kind of have permission to work 0 to 100%. I'll be in that range. If I need to rest, I'm going to rest, and I'm going to win. I'm going to win the long battle, right? Win the long, plan to be around for a long time. So anyway, that's the update. I appreciate your prayers and your love and your, and all that. God's good, and I am very confident. I'm at peace, and we're going to blast this little thing into oblivion. And then we'll kind of take it from there. There's a potential of doing stem cell therapy afterwards, like knock it down to 0 and then take out the bazooka and go, which I hope we don't have to do that, but we'll see. If we need to, again, like, I'm not afraid. I don't really want to do that, but anyway, that's when you get to lose your hair and junk like that and really anyway, I won't go into it. So that's not as much fun. But anyway, we're going to win. And again, I love you. I appreciate you. Again, like I kind of said early on, when you face a challenge, you kind of find out where things are at. And I want to just say the love and the support and the family that I've experienced here at Grace Church has been absolutely incredible. And so thank you. Nana and I have felt very loved and cared for. And so thank you. Yeah, thank you. So let's talk a little bit about what's next, where we're headed here, just kind of, and we'll kind of wrap it up. We're going to start, just to give you a little snapshot of what's ahead. We're going to start a series this weekend. I told you one of the things that I've been doing is kind of going back to things that have fed me in the past. And we're going to do a series starting this coming Sunday called Sit, Walk, Stand. And it's based upon a book written by Watchman Nee, who was a Chinese pastor who ministered in the first half of the 1900s. He was born, I think, in 1903, and in 1952, went into prison for 20 years and died in prison in 1972. But anyway, it's a phenomenal book, and it's written based upon sermons that he gave on the book of Ephesians. And he's got an incredible insight about this section on sit, seated in Christ and how we walk, therefore, because of your calling, walk in a manner worthy of the Lord. And there's 2 chapters on walking. And then he does a chapter on stand against the enemy and the armor of God. Therefore, stand against the enemy. And I think often we get it backwards. And his insights are phenomenal. And so we're going to do 2 weeks on sit. We're going to do 2 weeks on walk and 1 week on stand, and do this over the next 5 weeks. And that'll kind of lead up to what we're doing with experiencing God. And so I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be hopefully very insightful to us, because I think we sometimes stand and fight, and it has to start with sitting. And when you see how these tie together, and I think the Lord gave Watchman Nee just an incredible insight into the book of Ephesians. And so we're going to use that as a springboard and preach off of that. So, by the way, tonight we have a gift for you of a book, Sit, Walk, Stand. And so on your way out, you can pick up one of those. And Jonathan Love had a great idea of having ice cream sandwiches tonight. And so actually, I texted him about 5 o'clock, and I said, hey, Jonathan, what do you think about if Nana stopped by and got 100 ice cream sandwiches? And he said, Kendrick, he said, you're fun. Isn't that sweet? Yeah. Now, you know how there's autocorrect, So he said you're fun, but what came off with the autocorrect was you're funny. So it said you're funny, but I know what he meant in his heart was you're fun, And so he meant, yes, go for it, And so thank you, Jonathan, for that. And listen, I'd love to pray for you. And then we've got a tour of the Grace Kids area. We got a book for you, and we got an ice cream sandwich for you. And we're going to have a great fall. What are we going to do? Get in a group. Grow spiritually. Hold on. Go back. I said one more thing. Invite 3 people. What if you thought of, this is a stretch. Try to think of 3 people that you could invite to a group, and what if 1 or 2 of them weren't even in the church, like a neighbor or a coworker or a friend? And if you're doing an online group, it could be somebody across the country. Maybe you got a friend that's struggling. And I'm just trust me on this one. This is great for people no matter where they're at in their journey. It's very it's very powerful, but it's also very digestible. And so anyway, get in a group, grow spiritually, invite 3 people. It's kind of the bonus one. That's a bonus one. So, all right, let me pray for you, and then we'll get a book, get an ice cream sandwich, and take a tour. Lord, I want to thank you for Grace Church and for this, what you have done, what you are doing, and what you will do, Lord. I thank you that you who began a good work in us will bring it to completion. And I want to just speak a blessing over every person online watching, over every person here in the building. Lord, that you would bless them. I pray that in this season, we would catch all that you have for us, Lord, and we would grow spiritually. I pray that there would be a connection that would happen. I pray, Father, that this would be a special season, and though hard and though challenging, I pray that we would feel how near you are. I pray that we would grow and make some connections and really make some lifelong friends. Some friendships would develop and relationships that would develop. And we would go in the opposite direction. Instead of isolation, we would be connected. Instead of disunity, we would be unified. Instead of feeling weak, by the grace of God, you would strengthen us. Lord, I pray that you would turn that which has been difficult and challenging for good in our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.